the story of early struggle, the story of the first big breakthrough in the marketplace. But stories can play a vital role in shaping the future of the organization. So when we say that organizations also have stories that shape their identity, the use of cultural perspective offers a way to explore the intersubjective meaning produced among organizational members, as well as cultural and individual levels of interpretation of how, what, and why things get done the way they do, what to do, who to see when problems arise, as well as what constitutes a problem. So using script theory to analyze organizational culture may enlarge our understanding of the dysfunctional aspects of organizational functioning and clarify unconscious aspects of organizational culture and behavior that are introduced by founders and other parental figures and maintained by a consistent pattern of assumptions that guide individual and collective actions in the organizational setting. Byrne never discussed organizational scripts, but he invited transactional analysts to think about them when he observed the script is the most important item and at the same time the most difficult to investigate for all the items of the equipment which the individual brings with him when he enters a group. Muriel James affirmed that, similar to individuals, cultures, subcultures, and families, organizations have scripts. And Dorothy Jonkerwood said, just as individuals have scripts, so do organizations. The lifeline of many organizations resemble the lifeline of a person. Some organizations seem destined for success, just as people do. Some organizations seem destined to fail, just as some people deem destined to fail. Organizations do not form accidentally or spontaneously. They are usually created because someone takes a leadership role in seeing how the concerted action of a number of people could accomplish something that would be impossible through individual action alone. Scripts also do not form accidentally or spontaneously. A script is an ongoing program developed in early childhood under parental influence, which directs the individual's behavior in the most important aspect of his life. Individuals create organizations as part of their ongoing programs based on beliefs of how to succeed or fail. Organizations seem to be scripted by founders through this theory, which will be designated as ideology and defined as a set of beliefs about business world and how it works. And these ideologies become part of organizational culture and are transmitted to new members through the socialization process when the new members comes in. So to put their ideas into operation, founders most often need a group of people who will interact according to some established patterns and who will play specific roles to forward both their own and the creator's scripts. Both will be instrumental in forwarding the script of the organization. Founders tend to create not only rational aspects of the organizations, such as structures and technologies, but also theories and belief systems that constitute the intangible and frequently non-rational aspects of the organization. And these non-rational aspects may have considerable impact on individuals at an unconscious level, explaining why it is easier to change structures and technologies than to change behavior and belief system. And in addition, work group culture might well encompass how members treat each other, who is considered part of us, and what it is like to be a member of the group, to work at a particular job and in the organization. So the ideas presented here are intended to stimulate further thinking about scripts in organizations, including how to identify and deal constructively with such scripts. As I said earlier, Byrne never discussed organizational scripts, but he invited transactional analysts to think about them. When he observed, the script is the most important item and at the same time the most difficult to investigate of all the items of equipment which the individual brings with him when he enters a group. The script equipment. The script equipment is the nuts and bolts from which the script apparatus is built. A do-it-yourself kit, partly supplied by the parents and partly by the child himself. The nuts and bolts, the counter-script slogans, the injunctions, the provocation, the reinforced demon in the child, and a built-in release, if one could find it. And the script apparatus. The script payoff, the injunction, the come on, these form the script controls. Then the internal release or the spell breaker, the prescriptions, the programs, the demon. That's why John Coward said, just as individuals have scripts, so do organizations. The lifeline of many organizations resemble the lifeline of a person. Both human beings and organizations have hierarchical structures. In humans, this range from cells to tissues, organs, and organ systems. In organizations, it includes the core leadership, the departments, teams, and individual employees. So, the use of script theory in organizational settings help us understand the unconscious individual and group process that may impair organizational effectiveness. Organizations are scripted by the ideologies they adopt and follow. Organizational ideologies tend to focus on central issues of the organizational life, establishing the initial organizational program that will guide the individuals and collective action in the organizational setting. So here, 4 issues that have been identified as relevant in the analysis of the organizational functioning are work, time, people, and money. And each of them seems to agglutinate, stuck together to form a mass. Each of them seems to agglutinate different sets of beliefs, that is, ideologies about the business world and how it operates. So based on these issues, 4 basic ideologies could be considered in the analysis of organizational scripts. The first one is work ideology. Let me share the screen for you. Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so the first one is work ideology. Each organization has its own interpretation of the meaning of work. And this interpretation determines how, why, what for, and where people are expected to work. In organizations, work is defined in 4 ways. They are: work is result-oriented. This approach emphasizes productivity, quality, respect for customers' needs, teamwork, partnerships, ethics, openness, and learning. Effectiveness and creativity is valued. This work ideology is found in highly professionalized organizations. The next one is work is task-oriented. Here, in this approach of work, quality takes precedence over quality. Quantity takes precedence over quality. Authority is decentralized. Problem solving is poor. People need to be busy constantly, and wild questions are seldom asked. Workers who arrive early and leave late are appreciated. Bosses always know better how and when things should be done. And hardworking people and eager to please authoritarian managers are valued. Work is done to attend to personal interests of superiors, disregarding the organization's interest. So this kind of work ideology is found in small to medium-sized business, family businesses, in which the owners keep strict control of the business. The next one is work is survival-oriented. As you can see in that picture, this approach of work is based on the approval or acceptance by peers, subordinates, and superiors. Here, the control is lax. Priorities are unclear. Organizational function is confusing. Most problems are only partially solved. Work is a way to assure interaction, and personal and organizational interests are disregarded. This kind of work ideology is found in public organizations in which employees and managers have tenure, but they don't have the power to change. Next one is work is failure oriented. This approach to work is based on the need for isolation and alienation, for proving to oneself the worthlessness of life and relationship. Next comes the time ideology. Here, time is a resource that can be used for the advantage or the disadvantage of the organization. When time is not considered a valuable resource, results and productivity tend to be low, and organization becomes ineffective. So here, using Franklin Ernest's OK Corral, 4 time ideologies are proposed based on 4 ways of using time. The first one is time is a precious resource. Time is used to meet organizational and personal objectives, implying constructive and gratifying time structuring. People respect each other's time. Schedules are met, and meetings start and end as planned. Punctuality is an organizational value, practiced internally and externally, maintaining a climate of calmness, credibility, and effectiveness, thus allowing people to produce with a minimum of stress. The next one is time is a resource used to maintain power positions. Here, time is used on behalf of personal interest. It is also used as a way of appearing busy or important to manipulate and put pressure on peers, subordinates, and clients, or to create critical situations and problems as a way of becoming visible by solving them. They create problems and solve them. Time schedules are respected only when personal interests are involved as a way of getting power, status, or prestige. So such usage of time creates a climate of pressure as well as a lack of confidence and uncertainty among members of the organization. Here, people consume large amount of time, of working time in unproductive meetings, waiting outside the boss's office. People are forced to wait outside boss's office, criticizing each other, and figuring out what is really going on in the organization. Time is used to play one-up, one-down games. The next one is time is not an important resource. So here it is used to pass the scheduled working hours without a clear goal. Routine work assures that the individual will keep himself or herself busy but not effective. Non-routine work tends to be passively resisted by the individual. The work, if it is allotted, that comes under the routine thing, that will be passively resisted. Again, time is not a resource at all. Here, goals and objectives are discounted. Time is wasted in nonsense activities that are disconnected from reality. People oscillate between passivity and agitation. Days and hours pass without constructive achievements, in isolation, in nonsense meetings, and in doing unproductive tasks. Time is not a resource at all. Here, goals and objectives are discounted. Schedules are not respected or even considered. The organizational climate tends to be heavy and toxic. Actions are unplanned and most often unpredictable. Next comes people ideology. People ideology strongly influences interpersonal relations, human resources policies, predominant management styles, effective employee participation, interaction among hierarchical levels, employee recruitment and selection, and organizational climate. Again, here, Franklin Anna's 4 life positions may be considered to be people ideologies because they constitute assumptions about how to relate and deal with people in various social encounters that take place in the organizational settings. The first one is get on with. This ideology is oriented towards cooperation, partnership, respect for others as individuals and not as positions, stimulating participation, openness, trust, creativity, problem solving, and enthusiasm. Get on with says that here it is synergy provoking. The next one is get rid of. This ideology stimulates exploitative, manipulative relationships and a lack of trust, respect, loyalty, and personal involvement with the organization and its members. Both organizations and individuals are viewed as mere instruments to achieve personal goals. There is always a win-lose context in the air. Next is get away from. This ideology is marked by dependent relationships, feelings of inferiority, lack of power. People tend to underestimate their strength and to submit to external pressures to meet the expectations of others. The fourth one is get nowhere with. This ideology may be distinguished by sterile, passive, and alienated relationships, apathy, a lack of interest and purpose in life. There is also a lack of commitment and involvement with people and organizational results. Next comes money ideology. . This ideology determines how business is conducted in the organization, the financial and economic policies, how employees are paid, and the relationship with bank clients and the shareholders. The first one is money is a means to an end and not an end in itself. Here, this ideology of making money is viewed as a natural consequence of productivity, quality of products and services, consumer trust, and a positive institutional image internally as well as externally. Employees are trained, equipments are renewed, technology is updated, market opportunities are scrutinized, organizational flexibility is cultivated, and ethical practices are always maintained. Again, money, the second one regarding money is an end in itself, not a means to an end. Make money, make money, make money. That goes the slogan. The main goal of an organization with this ideology is to make money. And to reach this goal, the common practice includes low wages, poor quality of products and services, lack of respect for consumers, unethical commercial and marketing practices, tax and debt evasion, and dubious deals. Pardon me?
No, sir, it's an audio disturbance. You can continue.
Okay. Such organizations tend to suffer periodic crisis, attracting employees with low professional qualifications and sometimes even dishonest ones who will use the organization for their own benefit. They will compromise on the qualifications of the employees. Again, money is sometimes a means to an end and sometimes an end in itself. In this case, the organizational approach to money is ambiguous. Money is made and lost without a clear understanding of how it happened. No financial planning will be there. There is neither a clear definition of organizational goals nor a general economic and financial planning system. Decision-making and problem-solving are poor. Procrastination is common and opportunities are lost. Such organizations are vulnerable to pressure from clients, suppliers, banks, and competitors. So they frequently experience problematic situations. For example, spending too much money at the wrong time, in the wrong place, and without any sort of forward looking. The money is spent just like that. See, products and services tend to be inadequately marketed. Errors are overlooked. And the sense of reality is diminished because people do not look for adequate information. Just see the picture. They do not look for adequate information. Money is neither a means nor an end. The relevance of money is discounted and the organizational functioning is chaotic, self-destructive, incoherent, and alienated. Reality is discounted or denied. People act erratically, jeopardizing the very survival of the organization. So, ideologies and organizational script diagnosis. The four ideologies just presented may be used as a guide to help organizational script diagnosis. Organizational scripts seem to be forwarded through the directives contained in these ideologies that are followed by individuals as members of the organization. Those directives may be followed consciously or unconsciously, verbally or non-verbally transmitted. So human beings use intuition to select among existing organizations the ones that best suit their scripts. People will be on the lookout for such organization which suits my script, so that I can join that organization. And the organization also usually have their own mechanisms for choosing those who will serve that organizational script. The little professor will be very active in finding out this. However, the gatekeepers of the organizational scripts and their respective ideologies are mostly those in the highest power positions, such as founders, chief executive officers, general managers, backed by first-line managers who play complementary roles in forwarding the drama. So here is the organizational script grid. This presents 4 basic orientations of organizational functioning and destiny lifeline. Each of them has a set of ideologies and observable modes of functioning. One is a winner, non-loser, non-winner, and loser. And these are the ideologies and modes of functioning for organizational script grid. The various aspects, the work ideology, time ideology, people ideology, and money ideology. In the case of a winner, the work ideology is result-oriented. Time ideology, it's a resource to meet personal and organizational objectives. People ideology, people are as good as I am. Although different from me, the motto is get on with. Money is a means, a coherence, and the life position is plus plus. And in the case of a non-winner, the work ideology is task-oriented. And time ideology used to meet personal objectives. People ideology is people are worse than I am because they are different from me. Get rid of. And money ideology is money is an end in itself. Voracity, the eagerness to make more and more money. And the life position is like this. In the case of non-winner, the work ideology is survival-oriented. Time ideology, to be spent without clear objectives or priorities. People ideologies, people are better than I am because I'm different from them. Get away from them. Get away from. And money is sometimes a means, sometimes an end in itself. And the life position is succeed. In the case of a loser, the work ideology is failure-oriented. Time ideology, to be wasted senselessly. And people ideology, people are as bad as I am and get nowhere with. And money ideology is money is neither a means nor an end. It is indifference in the loser's case. And the life position is I minus, you minus. So, stories and ideologies are deeply intertwined. So based on the ideology they choose, each organization script their stories and march towards living them, proving itself to be a winner, non-winner, or a non-loser, or a loser. So can organization scripts be changed? That's the question. Yes. Organizations may alter their scripts by substituting the persons who retain ultimate power to establish the how, when, why, and what for of the organizational functioning, the purpose of the organization, why the organization exists. So it is probable that adequate training and development of executives, managers, and supervisors contribute to enhancing the level of awareness. Through awareness of how their behavior impact employees, how their values and expectations contribute to maintain or change the status quo, and how permission and protection are valuable in fostering the quality of the individual and contribution to the organization. So many people object to the theory of scripts, each from his own perspective or his own point of view. And more satisfactorily these objectives can be answered, the stronger the inference that script theory is valid in organizations also.